Well, I am definitely in favor of outlawing, all of them.
You are so dumb.
I'm sorry, you need a gun to feel like a man.
You care more about your fucking guns than kids.
The reliable and consistent murder of small children is what you feel you need to trick the world into thinking you're not gay.
As a chapter president of Turning Point, I have to deal with a lot of dumb people, especially on the issue of the Second Amendment. It's my big issue. It's the one I talk about the most. And I have to deal with a lot of people that do not fundamentally understand the issue. These TikToks, though, are insane. I asked a lot of you guys after I made the last video to send me some of these anti-gun TikToks. And if you're on Twitter, please send me some more if you see them. But some of these, I'm sorry to have asked. These are crazy. I'm going to start with the first one here. This is a woman that fundamentally does not understand the argument at all. And I'm going to play this video for you in a second. Obviously, her argument's wrong, right? Obviously, I disagree with it. But I think it gets at a fundamental difference in the anti-gun and the pro-gun approach. So I'm going to play this video for you. We'll head back in a sec.
Fuck every single one of you. Who cares more about your stupid fucking gun than the lives of kids? You are so dumb. Your Second Amendment is not unlimited. You are just the most horrible humans on the planet, that you care more about your fucking guns than kids. I hope karma is horrible to you, all of you.
This is the fundamental lie that underlies the anti-gun position. This is the fundamental lie that underlies the position of ordinary Americans who genuinely think we are evil for the positions that we hold that are actually common sense. We are not pro-gun because we care more about our guns than the lives of the kids. We are pro-gun because we care about the lives of the kids. That's what everyone gets wrong. These two things are not in opposition. They are fundamentally aligned. And for a woman like her, for instance, let's say there's significantly more defensive gun uses in America than there are offensive gun uses. Guns, according to some studies, stop something like 3 million crimes a year. If I am with my family, of course I should have a gun. When one day, God bless, I'm a father, of course I'll be armed around my children. Of course I will. You think I'm just going to let them be defenseless? What are we talking about here? The other point that's fundamental, and this is the point I want to make very, very clearly. One of the main reasons and we don't talk about this enough in the Second Amendment, one of the main reasons that the Second Amendment is so important is because we care about the future of our nation more than anything. We care about the idea that our country won't get taken over by tyrants. And that, in order to ensure a country for our kids and our grandkids, we need the Second Amendment and we need guns. It is our great insurance plan. No other country has it, as we do, right? Other countries like Switzerland, of course, have extremely high rates of civilian gun ownership and also very low gun deaths, but let's not talk about that now. But no other country has it like we do in terms of the culture around the Second Amendment. And that's why America is impossible to invade. It is impossible to take us over because we have the great insurance plan of all insurance plan, the Second Amendment. This next video is even more insane. But again, it goes to show what I think a lot of people in the Second Amendment community don't understand. Logic and policy are on our side, right? History and tradition of America are on our side. But the reality is for the anti-gunner people, right? Not the politicians, right? They're just kind of evil. But for the anti-gunners as people, a lot of what motivates them, honestly, is a deep sadness. And that's completely understandable. But also, from a policy perspective, it is completely illogical. I'm about to play you this next clip. Take a look.
No one is coming for your guns, they say. I am. If you insist on it being black and white, I stand on the side of children, on the side of my daughter never watching her friend bleed out on the reading rug. I want our babies to live. I guess I'm pro-life like that. Or make sensible gun laws or whatever, but if you make me choose between our children's lives and your gun safe being well stocked, I'm coming for your guns. Let the deer run free. If you care so much about hunting, stop being a pussy and use a bow and arrow. My daughter struggles to sleep at night because her friend told her a ghost story 2 years ago, so she listens to a podcast starring Elmo and Grover that calms her down. She is the exact same age as those children were. How well do you think she would sleep after seeing her teacher get shot in the head? I'm sorry, you need a gun to feel like a man. The manly men that I know just go play basketball or work on cars or build stuff with their hands, but I guess the reliable and consistent murder of small children is what you feel you need to trick the world into thinking you're not gay. Guns don't kill people, people kill people. Okay.
She has no idea what she is talking about. If I wanted people to, I don't know, signal that I'm not gay by having a gun, I would open carry. But like most gun owners don't do that because it's not tactical, right? Completely, you're right if you want to, again. But for me personally, I don't do that, right? Because it doesn't make any sense from a tactical advantage, in my opinion. Fundamentally, and this is generally true, I think, of all anti-gunners, and I have looked for genuinely good anti-gun arguments from a policy perspective, right? And anti-gun sort of absolutist arguments. There's certain, policy tinkering around the corner, things that I would not necessarily agree with, that some people have decent arguments for. Again, not saying I agree with them, but some people have, cogent arguments for certain little policy changes. But in terms of a broad spectrum, gun bans, anything like that, I have never heard a good argument. Because the reality is, it's not going to work. If you wanted to ban guns, fundamentally, this is what you need to do. You need to get it through Congress. You're not going to do that. You need to get it through the Senate. You're not going to do that. You need to get the president to sign it. You're not going to do that. You need to get the Supreme Court to sign off on it. You're not going to do that. You need the police to enforce it. They won't do that. So you have to bring in the military. They're not doing that either. Then you have to know where the guns are. You don't. And then the people have to hand them over, which we will not. Fundamentally, there's no way to do it. And even if there was, the only thing you succeed in doing is taking them from the people that will give them up, and you're just leaving them with the criminals who have them. It's insane. It's crazy. It's insane. But that doesn't matter to a person like her, right? Fundamentally, there's this idea that we need to do something, and that something has to relate to the machinery used to commit the atrocity, right? Like, you get this in the UK, right? A kid will get stabbed, and they'll say, we need to ban knives. Well, that's not going to work, and it never has worked. London has really high murder rates and high violent crime rates, right? Depending on how you count them, of course, because the statistics are difficult. But then you just take a bar and hit someone over the head with it. Or then you just take, I don't know, a kitchen knife. Okay, now you can't carry kitchen knives anymore. You can't buy kitchen knives. You need ID for knives. Okay, so, and now, I went to the UK, you need an ID to buy a steak knife. I went to Clarkson's farm, and you need an ID to buy a steak knife, right? And you get into these absurd sort of situations because, of course, guns don't kill people, people kill people. Obviously. It's like so obvious it's not even worth talking about. There are, however, smart people on the left, and one of them I think is Sam Cedar. Here's a clip of Sam Cedar kind of reaching the conclusion that the lady reached, just in a different roundabout way. I'm going to talk about this in just a second about why I think this is significant. Here you go. Here's the clip.
Is as much regulation as we can in this. I don't know, what's the damage done by that? Maybe from the perspective
made people felons who have like an archaic. It's unfair to call it archaic, I guess, but like the M1 Garand is like a Vietnam weapon, and the M1A is a more modern version. But it's like a wood stock, and it's got like it's a 308. The Scar 20S is a modern AR-15 style variant, which is substantially more efficient.
Well, I am definitely in favor of outlawing, all of them. If that makes it easier.
Every single one.
I hate Tim Pool's argument here, but I think Sam Cedar has it even worse. So, again, what's your plan for all the guns had by criminals? What is actually your plan? What is your plan to render the American people helpless? How are you going to prevent that? That to me seems like the maximal evil, right? You will literally create a situation where you essentially allow, right, because they already have been able to purchase, you allow criminals to have an unlimited stock of firepower. And you allow no law-abiding citizens to have anything to defend themselves. It would neuter the country. Aside from the, of course, insurance point, right, as it relates to defense against tyranny, there is no good explanation for this. And his argument is kind of like, okay, we got to do something, ban all guns. Okay, doing something is only productive if the thing you are doing is positive. That's one of these ideas that no one can grasp. Whenever something bad happens from, not only just from a gun perspective, but anything, from plane crashes to whatever. People say, we need to do something. Okay, maybe, but only do something if you can think of something that would be productive and helpful to do. I have a good one. How about we make strong mental institutions, right? To get all the people that the FBI knew about, right? The FBI knew about half these mass shooters, and they just leave them out on the streets. It's crazy, right? Make a mental institution. It's bad for them too, to commit a mass shooting, right? If someone has a mental problem, they should be in an asylum, not only for our well-being, but for theirs too, right? It's a completely empathetic point to make. But yet that's literally the last perspective that they'll ever take because they hate things like incarceration in mental institutions. Why? I don't understand, but that's their perspective. Anyway, I just wanted to show you some of these clips. They were said to me. If you want to send me more, you can find me at Bearing Freedom on Twitter, same as my YouTube username. Send me more. These are just painful to watch. Really, really painful. Very frustrating, too, because I have to argue with these people on a daily basis. But yeah, hope you did enjoy. If you're new here, subscribe down below, and I'll see you in the next one.